miscellaneous amendment bill. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Millie, are you on this one? You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I'll be very brief. Madam Speaker, I know several members have spoken to the issue of amendment of the National Youth Authority Act. And Madam Speaker, I just wish to disagree with the members. I remember Honorable Sakaja is the one who brought the bill, and the reason that he brought it then was because of a concern over the issue of youth unemployment. And we do agree and acknowledge that there are very many people who are not in the youth age bracket that are not employed. As a matter of fact, we know very many people who have qualified as teachers and have retired without even being employed as teachers with TSC numbers. But Madam Speaker, having said that, the greatest challenge we are facing in the country is youth unemployment. And you can see with the rising cases of insecurity, of violence, of theft. As a matter of fact, in my own constituency, I think yesterday, there's a woman who was abducted at a market called Ogongo Market. Madam Speaker, last week, a boda rider was killed. The wife who had just given birth recently, she was just 15 days after giving birth, was raped, was gang raped by these guys. And these people had already stolen his motorbike before and were coming for his second motorbike when they killed him and raped the wife. And Madam Speaker, the reason why you find this kind of situation is because we have very many idle youth. They have no opportunities in life. They become desperate. They become thieves. And because of that, they even get into all other evil activities. So if, Madam Speaker, we again open it up to all unemployed people, the challenge that we have seen in this country is that sometimes we think common sense is common, but it's not that common. You will find that a person who is in their 70s who has retired will be deemed to be unemployed if they have retired and be given a job, because then they fall within that category. So for me, that is a situation which I do not support. I also support, though I support the amendment to the Copyright Act, and especially the inclusion of equitable remuneration of performers and producers of sound recordings, and Madam Speaker, including collective management organizations towards the authors and performers. Madam Speaker, this is because it is very difficult to be in the creative industry. Madam Speaker, I speak as an author and I know what it takes. And because we are in the creative industry, and especially because we are also competing a lot with the .com, some of us sit for hours and years to actually produce a book. But you know, this young generation, they just sit for a minute, imitate what Honorable Millie Odhiambo is doing, get 1 million followers and get money. As we are not lucky enough to do that, but we have to do, more strenuous work around this. So I do support that. Madam Speaker, I support the proposed amendment to the Fisheries Management and Development Act, but want to encourage the majority leader that other than this miscellaneous amendment, please bring a more comprehensive amendment to the Fisheries Management Act, because we are facing several. Thank you. He has alerted me that there is a bill and I will actually look at it, because we are facing very, very serious challenges in the fishing industry. There is always clashes with the fisher folk. More recently, people from Homa Bay Town constituency came and killed people in my own constituency because they are fighting over different fishing methods and different space. Unlike the land where people have title deeds, there are no title deeds in the lake. And we have different kinds of fishing that requires people to fish different times. This was never foreseen in the past because we have always thought that the waters are infinite. But we have discovered that it's now limited as the populations grow, as people move to fish in my area. As a matter of fact, actually, the persons that play a very significant role of fisheries in my constituency are Somalis. We are not against them, but it just shows you that this is a small resource, that people are coming all the way from northern Kenya, from Uganda, from Tanzania, to use the same resource. And conflicts are bound to arise, and we must therefore come up with the laws that actually deal with those kind of issues. Finally, Madam Speaker, I want to agree to some extent with Honorable Kaluma on the issue of adoption. I'm saying to some extent because you have to look at carefully the Constitution, and I presume the persons who are seeking this amendment are looking at the issue of discrimination. That if you are looking at a single female applicant can be allowed to adopt a child, I'm sure they are thinking, what about a single male applicant? I think what I would propose is that there should be a further amendment, whether for female or male, so that we look at the best interest of a child anytime we are dealing with the issue of adoption. Because, Madam Speaker, we have very unique and special circumstances relating to children in adoption spectrum. And Madam Speaker, as a person who actually brought the bill on counter-trafficking in persons, as a consequence of being the director of the Cradle the Children Foundation, then, I'm not the director now, and I dealt with many cases of trafficking, one which even forced us to exhume a body to confirm whether one of the children was actually a child to the parents or the alleged parents. And Madam Speaker, because of that, if we want to stem that, it is important that we stem the issues of trafficking in persons. Honorable Ichungwaah, you know you cannot harass me here. I know you have missed me. But if you want me to deal with you, I will deal with you perpendicularly. Sorry, but I don't want to deal with you today. But Madam Speaker, I just want to indicate that because of that, I do support, but I would be supporting with the proposed further amendments, that you must look at unique circumstances and situations relating to specific children and their circumstances. I support with amendments.
Honorable Ichungwaah, Honorable Millie says she's in a good mood today. She's not willing to deal with you. I'll call you to reply. There being no further request on this one.
Thank you, Speaker. And as a reply, I don't know if you also heard the first sentence from the Honorable Millie. She says she knows I miss her, but she's not going to deal with me today. Honorable Speaker, and she knows I was not harassing her. Because I know how passionate Millie is on child welfare and child care matters, and indeed matters touching on women's rights and gender equality. Therefore, I cannot harass her, and I know she was also missing me, and she's happy to see me, just like as I'm happy to see her. But Honorable Speaker, allow me as a reply to begin with the issue, that particular issue of the provisions relating to the Child Care Act. And Honorable Speaker, as I mentioned, I think the Honorable Owen Bayer mentioned during the time he was moving this bill on my behalf, this emanated from a court ruling that allowed now single males to be able to adopt children. But there are concerns, Honorable Speaker, and I want to agree with many members who have raised this issue, that indeed there is a major concern on matters touching on issues to do with child trafficking. There are also issues touching
Hold on. Honorable Kaluma, what's out of order?
Your Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Majority Leader, whom I respect very much, has mentioned, proposed in this bill, which is arising from some court ruling. Would we have that court ruling so that we are rightly informed? Because I'm not aware of any. And I doubt any legitimate court, proper court, and we have very competent courts, can make such a ruling in the light of the provisions of Article 53 of the Constitution.
Honorable Ichungwaah, do you have that? Do you have the court ruling?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, and if the Honorable Kaluma was